The night was quiet, but something about it felt wrong, like the air itself was holding a secret. On a distant plantation, hidden far from the eyes of the world, a story unfolded that no one was meant to hear. A story of desire, deception, and a truth so dangerous it could destroy everything. And once you hear it, you'll understand why some secrets were never meant to be uncovered. Before we go deeper, if you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Night Archive. Because the stories you find here are not just told, they stay with you. She had everything a woman of her time could want: wealth, power, status, and a life that looked perfect from the outside. As the wife of a powerful plantation owner, she lived in a grand house surrounded by endless land, servants, and luxury. But behind those walls, something was missing. Something she couldn't explain. A quiet emptiness that no amount of comfort could fill. Her husband was a man feared more than respected. Cold, distant, and obsessed with control. He cared about power, not people, and certainly not her. Days turned into months, and months into years, with nothing but silence between them. Until one day, everything changed. It started with a simple glance. He was new, a slave brought in recently, but unlike the others, there was something different about him. He didn't carry himself with fear. His posture was straight, his eyes calm, almost too calm. And when their eyes met for the first time, something shifted. She looked away quickly, but not before feeling something she hadn't felt in years: curiosity. At first, she tried to ignore it, told herself it was nothing, just a passing moment. But the more she saw him, the harder it became to look away. There was something in his presence, something quiet, yet powerful. He spoke very little, but when he did, his voice carried a confidence that didn't belong to someone in chains. And slowly, she began to watch him. From the balcony, from the windows. Small, stolen glances that turned into something more, something dangerous. Days turned into quiet moments. Moments turned into conversations. At first, brief and careful, but then longer, deeper. She found herself drawn to him in a way she couldn't explain. Not just his appearance, but his mind. The way he spoke, the way he understood things. It didn't make sense. How could someone in his position be so different? And yet, she didn't question it. Because for the first time in years, she felt alive. Their connection grew in silence, hidden in shadows. Late-night conversations when no one was watching. Each moment pulling her deeper into something she knew she shouldn't want, but couldn't resist. But every story like this comes with a cost, and the truth was waiting. One night, everything changed. She had been waiting for him. The house was quiet, the halls empty, the kind of silence that makes every small sound feel louder. He arrived like always, calm, controlled, but something was different this time. He wasn't speaking much. She noticed it immediately. she asked the question, a simple one. Who are you really? For the first time, he hesitated. Not fear, but calculation. And then he smiled. Not the kind of smile she had seen before. This one was different. Colder. Almost knowing. What he said next shattered everything. He wasn't who she thought he was. Not just a slave. Not just another man brought to the plantation. He had a past. A dangerous one. He revealed that he had allowed himself to be brought there on purpose. That everything, every moment, every conversation had been part of something much bigger. At first, she didn't understand. Then slowly, the pieces began to fall into place. The way he carried himself, the way he spoke, the way he never truly seemed afraid. It wasn't an accident. It was a plan. And she had been part of it. Her heart started racing, not from fear, but from realization. The man she had trusted, the man she had let herself feel something for, wasn't just hiding something. He was hiding everything. He told her things she wasn't supposed to know. About power, about control, about people who operated in the shadows. About how plantations like this were not just places of labor, but pieces in a much larger system. And her husband was not as powerful as he seemed. He had enemies, dangerous ones, and the man standing in front of her was one of them, but not in the way she expected. He wasn't there to destroy. He was there to uncover, to expose, to dismantle something from the inside. And somehow, she had become the key. Her mind couldn't keep up. Everything she thought she knew was falling apart. The life she lived, the man she married, the world around her, none of it was what it seemed. And now she had a choice. Walk away and pretend she never heard any of it, or step into something she could never escape. He didn't force her. He didn't beg. He simply told her the truth and let silence do the rest. Because he knew once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And she had already seen too much. Days passed, but nothing felt the same. The house felt colder, the walls heavier. Every face around her suddenly looked different. She began to notice things she had ignored before. Conversations that didn't make sense. Movements that felt calculated. Her husband's behavior, his meetings, his silence. It was all part of something bigger. And now she was inside it. She started helping him. Slowly, carefully, quietly. Not because she was forced to, but because she wanted to know more. Because deep down, she knew something wasn't right. And for the first time, she wasn't afraid of the truth. She was afraid of living without it. Their connection changed. It was no longer just curiosity. It was trust, but also danger. Because every step they took brought them closer to something that couldn't be undone. And then the moment came. The truth was revealed, not just to her, but to everyone. Secrets that had been buried for years, exposed in a single night. The system her husband had built collapsed faster than anyone expected. and the man she thought she knew was gone. In his place stood someone else, someone who had planned everything from the beginning. But here's the part no one talks about. Even after everything, she didn't regret it, because for the first time in her life, she had seen the truth. And once you see it, you can't go back. The plantation changed. The power shifted. But the story didn't end, because some connections don't disappear. They stay, quietly, like a memory that refuses to fade. And maybe that's the real story here. Not just deception, not just truth, but what happens when you discover that the life you were living was never real to begin with. So now I want to ask you something. If you were in her place, what would you have done? Would you walk away? Or would you follow the truth, no matter how dangerous it is? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story stayed with you, don't forget to share it with someone who loves mysterious and powerful stories like this. This is Night Archive, and some stories are too real to forget.